So, another warm FrightFest welcome to Dominic Brunt and Joanne Mitchell-Brunt. You're here again with another film, Wolf Manor this time.
Yes.
How many more films are you going to make? We're going to have to show, Dominic. But this is a really unusual one. Take me through the genesis, because this is really even odd for you.
Well, I've never been hired as a director. We always usually do our own films. The film was already had a Sean Harrison attached, who did Star Wars and Harry Potter and the Avengers, and some cast were already attached as well.
Yeah.
But he had a shoot date as well that was 5 weeks in advance, and said, "Would you direct it?" And I was just like, "I'll have a look at it." And we usually deal in allegorical things or morality tales set within the horror genre. And this was literally lining up 10 kills. You know, they're shooting a vampire film. There's a werewolf in the house, and it slaughters all 10 of them in order. And I was like, I kind of respected the honesty of going, right. It even says it complains about backstories, and it acknowledges there is no characterization for anybody. So I really, really like that. You know, it's something that we'd never do.
Yeah.
And of course, and then they needed a producer. Oh, I know a producer.
Well, Dominic had said to me, he said he'd love to do it, and I said, well, that's great, go for it. And then he said, well, they are sort of looking for someone to help out producing. And I said, well, yeah, I'll help out. That's not a problem. And then when I had a meeting with the exec producer, he said, no, I want you to produce it. And I was like, okay, so how long have we got? He said, 5 weeks. And I just went, oh my God, how are we going to do this in 5 weeks? And so we went, right. So I said to Dom, I said, are we going to do this or are we not? If we're going to do it, we're all in 100%. Because we haven't got much time to think about it. And I think perhaps that was probably one of the saving graces, is that we didn't have time to think about it. We just went, right, let's throw ourselves in. And that's exactly what we did. We just got the ball rolling really, really quickly. And things did fall into place. We had the exec producer, Pete, who's also the co-writer. He did say, he gave us a couple of 5 names that he would like to play the lead actor, one of which was James Fleet. So I said, well, I'll do my best. I'll see what I can do. So I was phoning up the agents. And lo and behold, James read it. And within the next day, he'd accepted.
Well, he's brilliant in it, isn't he?
He's amazing.
He's
incredible.
he is really the anchor of the film.
Oh,
I think so, yeah.
I mean, he's so funny.
Yeah.
And he deadpan. He really, really gets what you're trying to do.
Yeah, and he loved it. He's the sort of actor that gets 100,000 plus per film. Yeah. And we certainly don't, nowhere near that. No. But he just said, I really want to do a horror film. I really like this. I get it, So I was like, so you're going to do it? Went, yeah, I'll do it.
I think it was the cape that did it. It was the switch. He said, I want to swish my cape.
They did as well.
Did you take over? Had they already got somebody to direct before and then they walked off, or what?
No, there was a couple of people in the running of it. And I think Pete was very, very insistent that that script was the one he wanted to do, because I got it when he said there is none of this, it's this, and I think previous directors had said, well, I'd like a pass over the script,
which is normal, which is very normal.
Yeah, which is good. But Pete was like, no, if you want to do it, you need to get it, you need to do this.
So you didn't change it at all?
We had a pass over it just for we formatted it, made it tidier for James Fleet, but hardly anything. It is as is, yeah. James Fleet was obviously improvising on certain bits, but Pete and Joel did a fantastic job on the script. I really loved it.
Yeah. So where was the manor then? You actually filmed it. Where was that?
We were in Shropshire, so it's quite near Ludlow, literally in the middle of nowhere. So that was so the manor was completely empty because it was Pete's house that he bought, and that was one of the reasons he wanted to. He's a massive horror fan, and he wanted to shoot a horror film in that house before he put anything in it. Oh, right. So we had the run of the place, basically.
Did you stay there as well?
We stayed there, and we just sort of wrecked the place, really.
We did wreck the place. He said, it's all right, you can wreck it, but nothing structural. Great.
Blood everywhere.
Yeah, blood spray.
That was exactly what it was, yeah. And also because Vince Knight, who's a great cinematographer for us, said the problem is there's nothing on the walls. It's a huge room, it's beautiful, but it's white walls everywhere. So we had to darken all the walls as we went along, which is part of the thing of not having time to produce beforehand. You were literally running around and shouting at each other, putting ash and water all over the walls to break it down as we were shooting.
So how long was the shoot, in fact?
3 weeks.
So you obviously had a very small window before you got back to your other job.
Well, you actually had to go back, didn't you, during it?
Yeah, I had to go back. I had 1 day off on the first week, then 2 days off in between the
I
second
see.
and
So
third
you were
week.
literally juggling the two.
Yeah, I didn't get a day off, so I was legging it back up
Blimey.
to Leeds to do Emmerdale, then I'd come back down and carry on with it. But night shoots as well,
Yeah.
so turning from nocturnal to day shoots, then running back down. So I was
Right.
ready to stop. I think actually when we did stop, I stayed over one night and then
It was 6 days as well, wasn't it? 6-day weeks as well.
yeah,
I
6
tried
day
to
weeks just to get it through.
Fit
Yeah.
it all in.
Mm.
Yeah.
So had the sort of werewolf design been approved when you moved on as well? I mean, when
Yeah,
you
that was
got
all
to-
Pete.
That was
and,
all done.
And Sean, yeah, that was
So
all done,
Sean
yeah.
had already said, well, this is it.
Yeah.
There was no, and it's effective enough, isn't it? In
I
that
think
sort
it's fantastic. And Sean was showing us this new material that you could sculpt the wolf, but you could get this hair and you didn't have to punch it in with a million
Oh.
holes. It kind of came in these sheets that would mould around the mould, get in the crevices
Ooh.
and all that, and you could cut it. And so that's why you've got this dripping beard on it and
Oh,
a
okay.
bit of a tail if you look. You know?
Well, yeah, I mean, you must have been in sort of like, seventh heaven, all the gory stuff.
yeah, it was
I mean,
great getting the buckets out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always shift over to one side, going, "I'm doing this bit." You know? Yeah.
I mean, so I always ask people this now. What was your very first shot?
Oh,
It was in the pub.
It was in the pub?
The Sun Inn in Clun.
and we
Oh,
had
So-
John Henshaw, who said, "I'll do it, but I want if you pick me up from home, take me down. I'll do the few hours, and then I want the car back
Yeah.
up because
Oh,
it was
right.
only in the one scene at the beginning." But we really wanted John Henshaw
Sure,
because he's
Yeah.
great. But
Yeah, it's obviously deliberate, but you really get an American werewolf in London vibe when they're walking
Yeah,
through the
yes.
forest, and they're sort of like,
The band.
the camaraderie and oh my, yeah. So you knew something was going to happen at
Yeah.
that particular moment,
Yeah.
but you do actually mine, I think,
Mhm.
the sort of the horror consciousness there. I think it's really well
yeah,
done.
definitely, there's nods and homages all the way through. I mean, we didn't want to put it on the moors either because you think, well, you might get done for copyright. It's definitely
I see.
a homage.
Yeah,
is the
yeah,
word
yeah.
I think they legally use.
And Ludlow was a good location, wasn't it? Because
Beautiful.
it's so expansive. There was just no one around. And on the last shot when the camera, what's it called, the drone rises up, I mean, you just don't see anything for miles, and that was exactly what it was perfect.
So from your point of view, it was actually quite, I mean, well, I'm not going to say easy, but it was a challenge, but a good one.
Yeah. I mean, it was great. I mean, I suppose the logistics of trying to get people up and put them into hotels and stuff around a place where there's not much going on, it was difficult. But actually, it was fast, but it was very little sleep. But we did it. It was fine. It was good fun. We enjoyed it. I think we had a really, really good team of people.
Yeah, there was a lot of laughter as well.
There was a lot of fun.
And Pete was great in accommodating,
Yeah.
and if anything needed doing and paying for and going getting, he wouldn't just sit there and do it. He'd be on the way, he'd be there.
But I think with everything, it's the cast and the crew, particularly the crew. They knew what they were getting themselves in for. So as long as you're honest with them and say, look, this is what it is. We're going to be doing night shoots. You're going to be, your accommodation is probably about 40 minutes from where we are because there isn't anywhere else. And as long as you're just completely upfront, and everyone was sort of 100% in all the way through, and it was a joy.
Now, as we know, comedy horror is quite a difficult genre to actually get right. You got it right.
Oh, that's
That's
kind of
good.
you. Thank you. I don't actually like the term comedy horror. I just think it's a horror film. And by the way, there are some funny bits in it. I can't. Personally, it makes my skin go when someone says comedy horror. I don't know why.
Or
But,
horror comedy.
Yeah, horror comedy. No, even that. I think for some reason I don't know why. And actually, if it says in the thing comedy horror, I kind of avoid.
Yeah, right.
So I would say personally,
Yeah.
it is a horror film, but there are some funny bits in it.
Well, I mean, last question.
Because I'm a
I mean,
wanker.
but you turned it around pretty fast for us to actually have the world premiere.
Yeah.
So how amazing is that? I know, you did it. We got
did
here.
it. We did
So, congratulations on
Well,
that.
thank you
you.
for having
Thank you
it,
so
because
much.
it's always our favourite festival.
Well, come on. I mean, a Fright Fest without you two. It's like
Stop
what?
it.
It's like
Yeah.
champagne without the bubbles.
Lovely. Brilliant.
Now, before we go, I have a little present for you.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
I was expecting this, but you can't keep anything secret, Dominic. You know that.
He's got eyes in the back of his head. So look.
Ooh.
So first of all, I'll build it up. So first of all, a little badge.
That's your second one.
It says
now.
Wolf
Thank
Manor.
you.
And then a limited edition Wolf Manor T-shirt.
Fantastic. I will wear
In
it
your
on
size.
the night.
Thank you.
How exciting.
And this is one of the props from the film.
No.
And this is a solid silver coloured walking stick.
You nearly
One
had that on
of the
eBay. Yeah.
And that's
Oh,
for you.
Oh, Dom, how fab.
For about 15 years' time when you need it,
I
you can pull it out.
absolutely
of the
love it. I
cupboard.
love a swagger stick. I've always
Yeah.
wanted one. I feel like I'm on the Antiques Roadshow. How fabulous. Listen, Dominic, Joanne, thank you so much.
Thank
I love
you.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.